Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking at a scenario where NATO was one country. So here we have every country that takes part in NATO and they have all unified. Of course in real life this could never happen, but here we're going to be assuming that for some reason all NATO countries unite. And first things first, this is by far the #1 military power in the world, the #1 economy. Probably still #3 in population, but they are quickly growing as they control almost an entire continent, almost 2 entire continents. But let's go ahead and begin with some countries joining them. Those include Austria, all of the microstates who really just don't stand a chance, including the Vatican and Montenegro. We then see Bosnia and Georgia joining, along with Moldova, Sweden and Finland. And yeah, they just gained a whole lot of land from people just saying, hey, we're going to join you. And yeah, NATO didn't say no. They also take Ireland thanks to this. So yeah, NATO has already grown in size. Are they the largest country in the world? Yes. Yes, they are. Honestly, I don't know what you expected. Even just the USA and Canada together can go up against Russia. Add in over half of Europe, and yeah, they're #1. After this, they invade Serbia, Kosovo, and Montenegro. And yeah, for this absolute military behemoth, these 3 countries go something like boom, 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 and all of a sudden they don't exist anymore. NATO annexes all of them, securing their hold on the Balkan region. And honestly, it's just, wow. It's kind of sad. From there, they go ahead and invade Ukraine, which is kind of hypocritical because they're supposed to protect the country, but they begin their invasion. And we actually see Russia joining in on the war as a second party. They begin to enter. And eventually NATO and Russia decide to split Ukraine between them. With that, NATO takes about half of Ukraine while the other half goes to Russia. Russia just joined into this war because they wanted some land, and NATO's their main enemy. They do not want NATO to grow in strength. And every single country NATO takes is just them getting stronger while Russia gets weaker. So yeah, Russia's going to do what they can here. They also go and unite with Belarus. And this is all just to try and give themselves as much strength as possible. Russia goes ahead and annexes Kazakhstan as well. They're going to try and retake that #1 title for size in the world, but they don't have it quite just yet. Just quite yet. Yes. Yeah, about half of Ukraine is now part of NATO, and pretty much a majority of Europe has to choose here. Are you with Russia or are you with NATO? And most of them would rather be with NATO. Like I said, Georgia had already joined, Sweden and Finland. Yeah, NATO here, by far #1, world's largest country, by far world's #1 economy. Are they the most populated country on Earth? Probably not. I think China's still in first and India's still in second, but they're definitely closer. Closer. Also, that's that. I'm not going to fix that because nobody ever even looks up there. Actually, yeah, let's fix it. Why not? It's going to bother me. There we go. Much better. You can't even tell. But yeah, this NATO is insanely powerful, and they're just going to increase that power. As Russia is Cuba's #1 major protector, but Russia wouldn't even dare declare war on this NATO country, and with that, all of the Caribbean falls. So yeah, the USA basically just sent down about a quarter of its military and took down the entire Caribbean. Wow. That just happened, and it's only going to get worse because NATO wants to expand. And they definitely can. Well, the point is, here we have NATO. Here we have Russia. NATO, enemy of Russia. But first, something more like this happens, with them making an alliance with a few of these Arab countries. to take down the Iranian regime. That, of course, Iraq also joins in, and a large Middle Eastern war breaks out between a lot of these countries. Yeah, well, NATO's in it. If NATO wasn't in it, this would actually be a kind of interesting scenario. But NATO's involved in the war. So this is gonna happen, followed by this, followed by this. Iran's gonna try and fight back. Honestly, there's not much to say. Tehran falls within a few weeks. They push past the mountains and along the coast. There is nothing Iran can do here. Literally nothing they can do to stop NATO. Like, I have nothing to say about this. It is just the absolute military powerhouse of the world. In the borders, there are 3 Middle Eastern countries made. Saudi Arabia, aka now just Arabia. And then NATO. And Iran. Iran is still here. Iran is still here. As for the rest of the Middle East, well, you're either a part of Israel, which is a very small country here, but it's under NATO, like, it's being helped by NATO. It's under NATO defense. They're actually in a new alliance with NATO, a global alliance with Japan, Australia, New Zealand, the Philippines, and a few other countries, which is basically just the USA's alliance. And now there's the Gulf Shield Pact. Well, the Gulf Shield, which is just kind of a middle ground to protect all these Arabian countries. But honestly, they're surrounded by... The alliance isn't going to be called NATO. I don't know what the alliance would be called. But there would be an alliance, and NATO's going to be the leader of it. Alright, let's go and finish drawing in these borders, and then we can see what our New World map looks like with so much US influence. This is honestly just kind of like, there's not even a point in existing if you're in the East now. China's gonna try and fight, but is there really anything they can do here? No, I don't think so. If China went to war with this country right now, their economy would just be left in shambles. Maybe they could hold out. If they teamed up with Russia, maybe they could try. But in the end, there's nothing they could do. NATO annexes Cyprus. They annexed Morocco. This is just sad. They annexed Suriname and Guyana. Just sad how NATO's doing this. Yeah, what are you supposed to expect? This is the #1 global power, and they need land in all continents. They still have an enemy, though, Russia. And Russia's been expanding, to say the least. They've been pushing down into Central Asia. They've been trying to reclaim that #1 world's largest country title. They don't have nearly the world's largest economy. They don't have nearly the world's largest population. And they don't have not even close to NATO's military. Their one chance at still being a respectable country is their size. So they annex all of Central Asia and all of Mongolia, which in the end does make them a bit stronger of a country, a bit more represented, but overall NATO's still #1. Russia continues to expand, taking out Afghanistan, and just trying to do anything they possibly can to strengthen themselves before the big war everyone knows is coming. But there's nothing else they can do. And eventually, war is begun as a little skirmish happens over here on the old Ukrainian border. And this ends up happening. So yeah, what are our standings here? I think I'm going to have to go ahead and side with NATO on every single possible way that they could be better. They have a better economy, a better GDP per capita. They have a larger military. They're a large country. They have more nuclear bombs. They're just better in every single imaginable way. Like, I'm sorry, Russia, but you are not going to win this. NATO troops that were already in the Middle East begin to push up into the Caucasus region. Meanwhile, they begin to flood out into Kaliningrad, Belarus, and former Ukraine, along with pushing up into the Kola Peninsula and capturing a lot of these undefended lands that used to be Russia. Well, that all of these undefended Russian lands. St. Petersburg falls very swiftly as NATO starts a massive campaign into the city. And within a few months, this is what the borders already look like. NATO then calls in their allies of Japan, South Korea, etc., etc. And China may join in if this is the scenario. But honestly, I don't think China's that stupid. I think everyone can see who's going to win this. And honestly, China, they may not be the smartest country, but they know, like, they're not dumb. They wouldn't join in if they know that it could cause their country's absolute collapse. China has a large economy. I don't think they'd want to let that go. Of course, NATO has a larger one now, but NATO relies on China nearly as much as China relies on NATO. I don't think they would be stupid enough to go to war with the #1 global power with the help of a nearly collapsing nation. Yeah, Russia's falling apart, to say the least. All this new land they got, especially in Afghanistan, rebels. So yeah, who would have guessed if you take over Afghanistan, even if you actually manage to take over the country, it just rebels against you when you're actually at war. Japan and South Korea are beginning to push up. The USA is making a landing. Yeah, China is not that dumb of a country. They would know that there's no point in fighting this war. They would know not to side with Russia. After a few more months, this is what the war's looking like. And honestly, everyone knows who's going to win this. Let's be honest with ourselves. NATO is they're just too powerful. Their economy is just so good. Like, there's not much else to say. Russia surrenders. NATO is won. What did you expect? When you get the #1 world power versus a large but unstable country, the #1 world power is going to win. Although they're not going to be annexing all of Russia, but they're definitely going to take a good portion of it. They take all of southern Russia to begin with, and all of Russia's Black Sea coast. They then take a good portion of northern Russia over here in Finland. They even take St. Petersburg, which is terrible for the Russians. And yeah, NATO is heavily expanded. As for down here in Central Asia, well, Afghanistan is of course given independence. Although this time they are kind of influenced a good amount by the US. These aren't their exact borders, but these are their new borders. As for Central Asia, well, they're all just one now. They actually decide after the war there's no point in staying as a bunch of separate countries. And yes, I know these aren't the exact Kazakhstani borders, but this is what I'm going to be going with. And then we see that instead of making a new Mongolian republic, they do this. They make the Greater Siberian Realm a new country over here in, well, who would have guessed it, Siberia, which is a complete NATO puppet. This Russia is technically not a puppet, but definitely heavily influenced. Japan gains a good amount of land. And even the US gets themselves a nice reverse Alaska. So yeah, Russia has really been destroyed here. Any hope they ever had of turning themselves back into a global power that everyone fears, yeah, that's all gone now. Yeah, Russia, just give it up. You've lost so much here. I don't see Russia recovering from this. I just do not see Russia recovering from this and becoming global power ever again. I mean, they've lost their size, for sure. A lot of their resources that they relied on from Siberia. They've also lost... They've lost their important coastal axis. So yes, technically they still have a coast, but it's not a very good one. They only have like Arctic Ocean, which eventually might do them something. But considering the global power that they used to be, yeah, Russia, this is just sad. Russia, like, yeah, you had it coming, but who would have guessed? You lose a war against NATO, who's your biggest enemy here, and you've been completely demolished as a country. They still exist. But yeah, no. NATO here is definitely our victor. They are going to continue to act as the world's police force, and it's only going to get more like larger and larger, as maybe a few more countries would even join this. Honestly, I think they have a shot just completely taking over the world, either by puppeting the world or just by downright annexing all of it. They have so much influence and strength here, they could probably do it. And then finally, Switzerland, one of the most neutral countries on the planet, hasn't fought a war since the Napoleonic days. This is about to happen. It truly is a momentous occasion. Switzerland has joined NATO. It may or may not just be to make the borders look nicer, but it has happened. There we go. Oh wait, no. Actually, yeah. Australia, New Zealand, you're gonna join back. And the Philippines? Sure. There we go. NATO is now a global organization that has defeated Russia, that has taken over a majority of Europe, and that is by far the world's #1 leading country. Well, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.